of my social media platforms is just ablaze with news from Iran. And yours is the complete opposite, where it isn't. So I thought it'd be interesting for us to kind of talk about how social media is kind of, I don't know, it just seems that mainstream media seems to not care about it because we're in the West, and anything that happens outside of the bubble, people don't seem to care, at least mainstream media does not. And even social media is curated depending on who you follow. So obviously, when I started looking at the protests, I went down a rabbit hole. And so the algorithm, recommended more and more of the same kind of content. You clearly did not have that instigation to begin with, and so you are more clueless about it.
Most of what I'm aware of today is purely through what's in my feed. And
Yeah.
I didn't go looking for it, so it wasn't there. But at the same time, you clearly have been bombarded with a lot of news stories about this. And it seems like, I'm not saying it's not relevant to me, but my algorithm for some reason thought that you don't really need to know about this one. And it was kind of almost like I dug a hole and stuck my head in it. Like literally, it felt like that. When you were telling me that it was not just one person that was killed, there were two. And then I looked it up today after talking to you, and I saw almost 185 people, protesters,
Yeah.
have been killed in the process. Like, how is this not showing up in my regular feed? Like, what part of my search history or algorithm that they've decided is relevant to me has made the decision that this is not something that he'd be interested in? It's, again, it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just really fascinating that I had to find out from you that it was such a big deal, all this that was going on over there.
What it comes back to is, does social media have any sort of responsibility in curating content, whether you like it or not? Because we are part of that social media platform in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can either choose to talk about it or choose not to talk about it. I know we have barely no subscribers and barely anyone watches it. I get it. But whether you're a big content creator or a small one, should you be talking about conversations which maybe don't excite you as much because they're not in your own country? Or is it information overload?
I think this is one of those things where we might disagree. I don't know where you stand on this, but I kind of know where I do. For me, it is information overload. Because
Okay.
I know the way I view it is I have a circle of influence that,
Yeah.
these are factors or things that are in my control. And I'm not saying that these are not important issues. I'm not saying that all this
Right.
happening there is wrong. It's not wrong. It's extremely wrong, and it's
Yeah.
sad that it's happening. But I also am aware that there's not much I can really
Very
do about
little
it.
that we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd support if there's a tangible thing I could do to support it, I would probably do that. But I also feel like with the social media side of it, when stuff like this happens, there are the people who genuinely are going to do something about it, and they don't talk too much about it. They
True.
maybe go and do it, and if they feel like it's something where they need to spread the word, you'll see them at the march holding up their cameras, streaming it. Good for them. That's amazing that you do that. I mean, if you're at home and you were there when you heard about the George Floyd situation and everything that played out after that, BLM, and you put up a black screen, like if that was your profile picture or whatever, or you put, how Facebook has those frames for different things,
Yeah.
peace in
Yeah.
Ukraine. For me, that's just virtue signaling. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but I don't relate to that way of
I
being
kind
on
of
social media.
I disagree with you on that. On
There, I
that. So
mean,
the
you're
yeah,
allowed to
yeah, I
disagree.
which is fine, which is fine. To me, it's like, if the very least I can do is show my support through my platform, and if all that it takes is just spreading the word, say, the way I got to know about this is not that the people I follow did anything or contribute. Maybe they did, but all I know is they put up videos or like, posts that were related to Iran and just stated their opinion, like, this is nasty, this shouldn't happen. And that is it's just because they put it up and so many people put it up, I got involved in it as well and became part of the conversation. Now I know, am I contributing, making donations? Not yet. But I think when as public, you start having an opinion, you in ways form the public opinion, and then you push a government to also kind of take a stand on it. Because the US did levy sanctions on Iran. I mean, there were already sanctions on it, but they levy even more for reasons particular to this event, right? And this is across the globe. It's not just the US that has levied it, Canada has done as well. So to me, even if you're not physically actually doing it, the fact that you're actually showing your support and standing with them does have an effect to some extent. I believe that. I could be a complete moron to believe that, but I genuinely do.
Let's say I post something on my feed on Facebook about Black Lives Matter. You know, I'm like, you know what? Let's support local Black businesses and Black-owned businesses, and I think that's important. Fine, I posted it. Most of my friends are going to be in
Yeah.
support of that. Like. But I might have that one friend who's kind of like, why? Like, don't all lives matter? Like, what is up with just this Black Lives Matter? I thought all lives should matter. And I'm like, dude, if
Yeah,
you
I
disagree,
can't get on with that.
if you disagree with this, that's
It's
fine. But no one asked you to put your words in my post. Like, you can quietly disagree and stay off my
Yeah.
post. This post has
Yeah.
nothing to do with you specifically. And I feel
Yeah.
like the opposite works as well, where like people who are showing support for this, what's happening in Iran, on their social media platforms, they're doing it publicly for everyone to see. Good for them. But if someone chooses not to, I don't think that you can kind of hold that against them. It's just that, okay, like maybe they support it. Maybe they are in support of the movement and all that. Maybe they're not someone who's going to post on social media. It's this tendency for everything to be on social media because of how it's curated. Like because you posted about Iran on your social media, you're going to get more of that stuff in your feed.
Sure. It's just, I don't know. For me, it's just, I think as we go deeper and deeper into the century, being apolitical about anything is just becoming less and less acceptable. And I mean, even with the Iran thing, I mean, the only reason people even know about it is because of social media, because people post it and some people chose to share it. Because the state media has been regulating it and saying that these, it's just some sort of a strategy by the US in trying to overthrow the regime and nonsense, right? So for me, it's like, I think every individual should, in a way, contribute. It's like know about it, read about it, post about it if you can, if that's the least you can do. Because there are people who are action takers, but if they don't even know about it, there's very little you can do about it. And it's a very twisted logic. I get it. Maybe because I'm extremely political, I try and keep myself abreast of everything, but that's also something I genuinely enjoy doing. That's also kind of my
Right.
personality.
Yeah.
I like having an opinion about everything, which probably is a very moronic behavior in somebody else's dictionary.
I feel like it's very hard to keep up half the time with, like you said, it is something you're interested in. So you're able to be abreast of whatever is going on,
Yeah.
yesterday, today, the day before that. I'm more likely to receive my news from someone who mentions it.
Because for me, it's like I follow so many people and everyone had posted about it. But having said that, it's like they'll post like a video that they'll take from BBC or somewhere, like some sort of a reel that talks about it. And then the next is like, oh, look at the pumpkin I carved.
It's like,
Right?
the stories, like you're clicking through and like, oh my God, terrible news in Iran. And then like,
Yes.
oh, pumpkin.
But that I'm not even exaggerating on making that up. It's like, and to me, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to like ruin your entire day and dwell into it. But at the same time, to me, every bit helps.
Sure.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Which I know you don't agree with.
I don't not agree with it. I just don't maybe have the energy to have that,
Yeah.
to practice that.
No, I mean, I get it. It's also cringe because I myself have not posted anything on my social media regarding it. Like on my Instagram stories, nothing. Because I have that guilt where I'm like, I'm not actually tangibly doing anything.
Right.
So maybe I shouldn't post about it. So I get your viewpoint as well. But having said that, I mean, I almost 80% of the people I follow have been just posting about it nonstop. I guess also because I have a few people who are actually Iranian descent.
Hmm.
So obviously, they'll post about it, and that's kind of how I get to know about it. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think
mean, we knew this was going to be a short one, but I thought it was just fun to talk about because, um, I mean, it's really sad what's happening in Iran. I really, really hope that this is a pivotal moment where things do change because just quickly talking about moral policing, I think moral policing is not something that is new or something that is limited to Iran. We have seen it in most conservative countries. We've seen it in India as well. I mean, if you remember on Valentine's Day, any couple that were found in like the in the parks and stuff, they would just be beaten up by the police. Like,
I think they
yeah,
used to actually take them to the temple to get them married.
to try and get them married. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you read about it, it sounds funny, but like it's just such asshole behavior. Like, your government has no role to play in your personal life. You cannot tell somebody is like, oh, you can be hanging out with someone you enjoy spending time with in the park. Like, there were people who weren't actually couples, they were just friends, but the idea, because it was Valentine's Day and you saw a boy and a girl together, you just assume that they're a couple. Yeah, and
right.
the mall policing doesn't stop there. It's not just like one day in the year. Like, trying as a single person trying to get an apartment anywhere in Delhi, Bombay, or Bangalore is a nightmare. To me, that is moral policing because people are like, oh, it goes against the culture. They use the word culture a lot in their defense, same as Iran is
Yeah.
doing it today, right?
Hmm.
Moral policing comes in various forms. The whole idea of pro-life in the U.S., where abortion has been erased, or is being, or the Republican Party is really pushing its ideals of, pro-life on women. To me, that is moral policing, and
Yeah.
the government or law has no business being in people's personal lives. So for me, it's like, I get it, it's happening in Iran, but off late is just, country after country, it just seems like it's just been nonstop for a while. And of course, the you know the people who are affected by this the most are of the female gender.
Yeah, I think it's important, like you said, that people keep sharing stuff. I am happy that there are people like you or people who are interested in these topics, not, whatever is relevant, and they're
Yeah.
actually doing something, even if it's on social media, to spread the word. And, it's thanks to people like you that I know about these things.
No, but I mean,
So,
for you, it's more on your feed. But then we also hear people having this conversation where they're like, well, why should I care? Like, it's like, even after you know about it, you're like, well, it's not happening here, so why should I care?
that
Or,
is a very, yeah, it's one of those things where, oh, I didn't say anything negative, so that means I didn't do anything bad. No, you're choosing
yeah,
to pretend like this isn't happening, which is not good either. Like, not saying anything is also a decision that you're making. Like, you're choosing to be
or dissing
ignorant
it.
about it. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
being ignorant about it
yeah,
on purpose, and just because it didn't happen next door, it's not
yeah.
happening right next to you.
Or it's one thing where you're not aware of it, it's another thing where you're aware about it and you diss it.
Yeah.
And I don't think most of today's generation does that. You certainly not, but yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny how social media has come to play such a big part in our daily lives and politics and everything.
Yeah, that's one thing we can
So
agree on.
yeah.